Hey, tech enthusiasts. Welcome to FocusChats, the ultimate blend of technology, fun, and education. I'm Becky Faith, your host on this thrilling ride. At FocusApps, we're all about the game-changing power of tech. And with FocusChats, we're handing you the tools to rock it. Let's get focused. Welcome to FocusChats. I am your host, Becky Faith. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Glenn Harris of Harris Services. Thank you for joining us, Glenn.
How are you doing, Becky?
Doing great. Thank you.
Good.
Let's just get right to the point here. We're just going to get started. I would like to know more about how you found Harris Services in 2004 and what made you decide to be an entrepreneur.
It's a long story. Essentially, it took me a bit of time to figure out that I even had an entrepreneurial mindset. Um, but through different mentors that I'd had up to that point, um, they were, you know, helping me pull that out.
Yeah.
And um, longer story. For maybe another podcast, but the reason I started 2004
Mm-hmm.
was because I had gotten fired from a job in the same industry. We were a cleaning and restoration company I was working for out of Indianapolis. We're located in Bloomington, Indiana. And, they decided I didn't need to work there anymore. So this is all I've ever done. So, I took all of that mentorship and put it in a big bucket and started pulling, all of that out. And, here we are 20 years later.
Well, that's incredible, and I do think that you're an excellent entrepreneur, just from what I've seen. So I think it's paid off for sure.
Well, I'm much better off than where I could have been if I had stayed with that particular company. So I feel blessed to have, had been fired, I guess.
Yes, there you go. Sometimes it's not a bad thing. That's for sure.
That was definitely not better off for sure.
Well, good, good. I know that you all offer a lot of services from cleaning to restoration and home renovations. How do you manage all of those different types of services?
It's not as difficult as one might think because we are in what is known as the cleaning and restoration industry.
Hmm.
So from what our industry needs within it to process the jobs that we get, whether it be fire, water, mold, whatever it is, we need all of the services that we currently provide anyway. So most we're categorized as a full service company, so which means that we do everything under our umbrella. We can handle anything that happens in a home when it comes to a catastrophe. um, and so therefore, having the capability of doing carpet cleaning and house cleaning and duct cleaning and tile and any type of floor cleaning,
Hmm.
all of those services complement one another
Sure.
in one form or fashion, in what we do in our business.
Hmm.
And we are, I think we're unique in our industry that we manage to still find a way to be relevant in all of those, from the standpoint of being good at all of them and not mediocre,
Mediocre in
because
some
it
of
may
them.
not be our our sweet spot, so to speak.
Hmm.
So I was just, quite honestly, I was just working on a new process of just how we set up at a job site,
Hmm.
um, so it would incorporate the same, um, for each of our services, essentially.
That's great. So, like
So,
having a process of once you get there and being able to be more efficient by having that process through all
Well, and then
those
that,
services.
yeah, so in a sense, if a customer called us to have their carpets cleaned on one day, and then they called us back because their house flooded on another, the prep of us getting into their home
Mhm.
is going to look the same.
That's
How we
great.
park the trucks, how we, walk into the house, how we introduce ourselves, our walk-off mats, our staging areas for our equipment, things like that. So the consistency from one service to the other,
Mhm.
although different services, can we can implement the same types of setup,
That's great.
just as we're entering the home. So it's a branding thing. It's
Sure.
something that we want to people to remember that we, even though we're going in and their house is damaged by a water damage, doesn't mean that we're going to just not protect it in
Right.
a sense.
And not
So
protect, you have to go in from a different area possibly, so you wanna make
correct.
sure you're not tracking through mud or things like that,
Right.
and you're like you said,
Absolutely.
not parking in someone's yard, tearing up their yard because it probably did rain and that's why it
Yep.
flooded, so
Yeah,
I
exactly.
completely understand, and I've seen where companies have tore up many yards because they didn't
Well, we've
didn't
done it as
respect the
well.
proper. Well, I mean, accidents happen, but you learn from that, and I think it's awesome that you're putting together that process though across the board. That just shows that you're thinking about your customer. You're thinking about how you would like to have it done if someone came to your house, which
Absolutely.
is very important. Very good. And tell me a little bit about. I noticed that on your website you talk a lot about customer service and your core values, and you just talked a little bit about already. You're revamping it all the time. It sounds like you're really you've been in business for a long time, but you're like, I need to tighten this up. I need to continue to be better. Each even as an individual or even as a business, we all try to strive to do that. So can you tell us a little bit about how you make that core value and customer service across everyone in your business?
Again, there's so much more to the story than maybe we have time for. But a few years ago, probably about 4 years ago now, we really dug deep into the culture of the company.
Mhm,
And although I had an idea of what I wanted the culture of the company to be when I started it,
mhm,
after going through what I went through from the previous company,
mhm.
I learned a lot of what I didn't want to do there, and then flipped it to what how I wanted to
Sure.
set up my own business. So
Yeah.
you know the first 10 years were me trying to implement that as just myself, um, and not really knowing. And again, this is where mentorship comes in. Not really knowing how to um, you know engage a team to be part of that as well.
Mhm.
Um, what I learned, again, about 4 or 5 years ago, is it all boils down to the type of person that you hire.
Very good.
Um, and again, that is one of the things that, being a slow learner as I am, I guess, it took me a long time to figure out that I was not hiring the right people that would help me build the culture that
Mhm.
we truly wanted to have here. Um, and why I feel like that is, why the culture of the company has become, I mean, it's so much different today as of right now than it has ever been, in my 20 years. And I'm so thankful for that,
Good.
because the staff, however you want to call it,
Mhm,
both field and office,
mhm.
they they believe the culture. They understand that we are here to help people at the worst times of their life.
Sure.
Um, you know, uh, and I say it this way. I've never really done the research to know this, but um, when we go through a situation, with someone that's had a fire or water loss, it's the worst day of their life for the most part,
Mhm.
because it's disrupted their home
Mhm.
where they feel safe,
Right.
where they're at peace, where they're
Yes.
comfortable, and it's disrupted. um, and so I relate this a lot to that. It's worse almost than losing a loved one,
Mhm.
because this is hard to say, and it's I get kind of, I stumble around every now and then, but
It's okay.
when you lose grandma, you know where grandma's at.
Right.
You're at peace with that, you know,
Mhm.
and this sounds really morbid, but grandma can't die again.
Right. Right.
But you could, what you're experiencing right now with your house being destroyed by a
Mhm.
fire or water, it could happen again.
Yes,
You'll never
absolutely.
forget that.
No.
And so we have to treat it that way, that we have to constantly be making them feel as comfortable as we can through this process,
Mhm.
knowing that when we leave and everything's done, I mean, we have, unfortunately, we have return customers, and that's not a good thing for
No.
some people.
No. I mean, it's amazing. I think it's wonderful about talking about core values and hiring people. And what you're saying is that you want to hire people that care and
Absolutely.
understand. Number one, how serious this job is, because they're losing, memories, and they're losing things that they had kept. I've had it flood in my home, and I had pictures of my children that, I didn't have my phone at the time. I don't have those pictures
Yeah.
anymore, and it was very sentimental and very hard to let go of that. And I think it's wonderful that you're saying, okay, when you come here to work with us, we want you to be professional. We want you to be caring and understanding. And we want to do that all the way across, from, like you said, from the outside crew to the inside office. And with us working with you, we see that, and we appreciate that. And that culture is radiates from you all. And I hate to say this for people that have to have restoration and things like that, but they're fortunate if they call you, because, just number one, you care. I think
Well,
that to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, a good one, you truly need to care about people and want to help them. And
yeah.
I think you all do that. So very good. And because of that, let's just transition into you've talked about. I do want to touch a little bit about, you say about you've had mentors over the year, and I know that you do community work, and have done a lot of that, and have helped people within the community and want to give back. And also, for the fact that you had mentors, now you're able to be a mentor to people. So, can you tell me a little bit about the Boys and Girls Club, and then some other ways that you've contributed?
Yeah. I got involved with the Boys and Girls Club about 12 years ago, not knowing at the time what I was truly getting into, but um, you know, probably 13, 14 years ago, when the kids graduated, and I wasn't running around or having to be at different events or whatever for the kids, I found myself with a little bit of, emptiness, so to speak, as far as, in not having a purpose outside of
Sure,
work. And,
I get
and so,
that.
just started kind of searching around, and fell into the Boys and Girls Club. And, spent 10 years on the board
Hmm.
with the club. During that time, my thought was, when I got on there, that I'd be, helping kids and being involved in events with kids and things like that.
Hmm.
Well, what I found is that the reason they wanted me on the board is because they were getting ready to basically revamp all of the properties and build more buildings, and um, you know the executive director felt like I might be of benefit, in that at standpoint. So, you know, in that period of time, we built a boathouse, for summer camps. We renovated the Lincoln Street Club, which is a historical building. Um, we built a new, 40,000 square foot facility in one of the, most needed areas in Bloomington. Now we've opened up and have opened up one in Ellettsville, and then we just recently, I'm not on the board now, but we opened up a place in Spencer,
Hmm.
Owen County, and but in that process, I have been able to get out and be with kids and things like that, and it's and I see the mentorship that is going on within the club itself from the staff to the kids. I mean, we're serving about 1,000 kids a day.
That's a lot.
um, it's crazy between all of the clubs. It's in between, I think, 800 and 1,000 kids,
Hmm.
which is unheard of,
Yes.
in my opinion, based on the statistics I see. So that was, what I thought I was doing was going to do that, but um, you know, like now that I've stepped off the board, I'm a little bit more active in high school uh, career fairs and things like that, trying to work
Great.
with our high school kids, different things like that. We've started a another specific. I don't really like to call it a career fair, but it's more of a trades and entrepreneurial driven introduction. I guess I'll just call it a career fair for simplicity's sake. But
Okay.
the thought process is that we're going to try to get out of these kids, if they have an entrepreneurial spirit within them. Do they have something that you know they want to try to do with their life, from maybe just not going to work? Do they want to have build a business?
Sure.
And then there's the trades. That's another big passion of mine, is helping build back the trades. So
Yes.
anything that I can do to grab some the younger generations, to talk to them about how awesome trade work is, I'll do it all day long.
Yes. Well, I know they appreciate you. I think that what's important about that too is being a mentor, as you had said that, just asking them questions about,
Yeah.
maybe questions that they've never been asked before, to get them to thinking about things that they might want to do. They may have always had that inside of them of like, ooh, that would be neat, or, I don't know if I can be an entrepreneur. That when you ask them questions and involve them in what you can do out there. I just think just one little thing like that makes a difference in our children today, for sure.
Well, so my first, I mean, I had two really, I guess three really pivotal mentors in my life. The one that helped me figure out what my true passion was my eighth grade English teacher, after we reconnected when I was 22 years old.
Okay.
And at that point, I was just cleaning carpets. Her and her husband had several rental properties, and we found ourselves one day sitting out on the front porch of one of her rental properties. And she just asked me, she goes, "Why are you doing this? What made you choose this?" We hadn't seen each other for years. And I'm like, it seemed like a good job. And, I like being out and about and doing stuff. And just the more I talked to her, she goes, after, our conversation, she goes, "You just really want to help people." And I'm like, okay. So I've taken that with me since, I'm
Sure.
57 now. So I can remember it was 525 South or North Fest, where we were sitting on the front porch. And
Yeah.
that was the day that I was told, "You do what you do because you just want to help people."
Very
I
good.
didn't know that about myself until that particular day.
Yeah.
So
That means a lot. It means so much, just that little simple thing to give a push to someone and give them hope and give them, the opportunity to go, figure out what they want to do. Being positive, being positive. Someone that you look up to especially. So very
absolutely.
good, very good. Um, being an owner, is an incredible uh, challenge, but an incredible feeling, I think, to be able to have results and help people and do all the things you want to do. Have you, I know you've probably ran into challenges before and you faced challenges before in your business. And do you want to elaborate on how you think it's good to handle those types of challenges, or, what do you do to overcome those challenges?
Actually, I've never had any challenges as a business owner.
Every single day.
Wow. Mm. It again, it's really how it's really who you center yourself around. Um, and because it's changed over the years, it really has.
Yeah.
Um, there were times early on that it was just me, and I had to figure it out. And whatever that challenge was, whether it was just how I was going to get the work done that day or whatever,
Hmm.
um, there it just it changes. So again, it's centering yourself around people that you can trust, count on, that count on you, that can count on you. Those challenges, although difficult
Hmm.
at times, are you know are we all learn from them,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And as I get older, I find myself in some of our leadership meetings. That's what we're talking about:
Hmm.
is what did we learn from this?
Right.
You know, um, even if it's something we couldn't have avoided,
Hmm.
whether it's an upset customer or whatever it is, that is something that, we had the process in place. We did everything that we, normally do on this particular situation. It didn't work. What do we need to do? You have to look back on all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
I actually said this the other day, quite honestly, in a leadership meeting. I said, we've gone through this situation, we've analyzed it. We're
Hmm.
not going to bring it up anymore.
Right.
We have what we have. We have the information we need,
Hmm.
and have analyzed it to know all we can know about it.
Right.
We're going to put that in a bucket. We're going to seal it up, and we're going to put it on the shelf.
Right.
We're not going to forget it because we
Right.
can't.
Right.
If for some reason we got to grab it at some point, but we're not going to go back to that
Right.
anymore.
Moving forward.
Absolutely have to.
Yeah. Have to move
And
forward. Right.
yeah, and that's been, I don't know, that's probably that's one of my best.
But
you
it's
know
true. I
I
mean,
walked out of the
it's,
room and I'm like, hey, that was pretty good.
but but it's absolutely true. And being a business owner, it is kind of you've learned a lot to this point. So now you're sharing that wealth with other people. But what you've learned is that, I have to learn from my mistakes. We all do, but we're not going to take a whole week and be sad about it or down about it or talk about it to death, where we just
Yeah.
talk. And let's be positive. Let's move forward. We've done what we need to do, and let's move forward. And I think that is great, great advice for sure. Um, I know that over the years, things have changed with your business, but technology has changed as well. Can you touch on how technology has helped your business grow and change? And has it been, we all know that it's better, but sometimes technology can also hinder a business if you put too much of that in play.
Right. You know, when I got into the industry, essentially in 1990, I worked for a couple different companies and then I ended up with that company for 10 years that fired me. Um, I've been in this long enough that the tech, the things we do today, it's almost. I'll relate it like this: some of the things that we do today um, are almost like you know trying to explain to somebody um, what it was like without Google,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
because it's so different.
Yes. Very.
It in all reality, some of the things that we do today didn't even exist or even a thought process in 1990.
Yeah. It's
It,
amazing.
and the speed of the technology just in how we dry a house or a building or whatever after it's flooded,
Hmm.
it's not even it's beyond imagination as far as where we how far we've come.
Sure.
um, so that's just the drying technology. Now you're taking the technology of the computer systems, and we can I can sit here at my desk and set up pods in homes, and I don't have to go to the house to know if our equipment is even running.
Yeah. That's
I can
amazing.
sit here and see all of our jobs, if they're
Mhm.
drying or not.
Sure.
um, just the way we estimate, the way that we process our jobs, we manage our jobs on a daily basis. We have anywhere from 80 to 100 jobs on our board. When I say board, on our in our uh, computer system that is industry specific. If without that technology and everything embedded in that helps us manage the ebb and flow of all those, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we couldn't do it.
Right. Right. And so, did you put those into play because it's going to make you a lot more efficient? Because you got to stay up with what everybody else is doing because they're moving along. That's just the way to go. And because there's a lot of business owners that, it's very difficult to want to make that change, because then I got to change, I got to hire more people. I've got to, retrain. I've got to, invest and all those things. Would you, as a business owner, recommend to other entrepreneurs out there, yes, you should be investing in that technology? Or, and then also, and on the second part of that, has technology you feel like get in the way maybe on the customer service side, or has it made it better for it?
The first part of your question, if you're if you are a business owner and you want to be successful and you want to grow a business and you want to have a sustainable company,
Hmm.
you got to stay on the cutting edge of your industry.
Yes,
You
very
have to.
much.
you know I watch you guys. I watch what you've where you've started, where Focus App started, and where you are today. Obviously, I know that firsthand.
Mhm.
um, if you're not, back in the day, it's like if you're not growing, you're dying. Well,
Right,
yeah, that's old technology,
right,
right?
right.
You Information is so readily available, and if and it sometimes it can be overwhelming.
Yes,
But if you're not zeroed in on what makes your business run better
right,
on any platform, then you're not really doing yourself any favors
right.
from that
You'd
standpoint.
be left behind.
Correct. Well, yeah,
Somewhat,
and
eventually,
some and some
eventually. Hmm.
right, and for some business that maybe that's okay.
Yeah,
Maybe they don't want that,
sure, sure, it is.
But if
It's their
you're truly
choice.
growing a business
Hmm.
and wanting to be relevant in your space,
Hmm.
you've got to stay on the top of what's happening, and that's changing.
Yes,
Um, because you never know when you're going to hit that sweet spot where, oh my gosh, man, if I'd have had this 10 years
right.
ago, if I'd have had this yesterday,
Yep.
type thing. As far as our customers go,
Mhm.
um, kind of the most interesting thing from a technology for me that I didn't really, because I was resistant about it for a long time, is texting.
Yeah, me too.
Our customers
Me too.
love our texting platform.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Share that
We
with
have
us. Yeah.
we have this platform, and it lives on our, it's a dashboard on our computer, and we have it on our phone, as well. So we're able to text them, um, report appointment reminders, and just like a dentist office. I mean,
Sure.
most anybody that goes to the dentist, or the doctor, they've been doing some of this stuff for years, and
Mhm.
it's I was resistant to it because I that was I was at the point where I was like, I didn't know who to believe. I didn't know if this is a real text and not a text or whatever. So once I found this program, and it's a game changer.
Yeah.
You know,
Did you
the
ever
community.
think you would be doing business through text though? I mean,
Yeah,
it's so strange, isn't it?
when we were doing, there was some texting going on, and you lose control of it, right?
Yes.
This lives on our, this is a dashboard. Everything's on our dashboard. We
Mhm.
see everything that any of our team that has access, to it. Those conversations are right there, and it's, um, you're not losing information because somebody, well, I texted so and so and they didn't
Right.
text me back. Well, did it really go through? Were you
Right.
in a bad spot? So it eliminated any kind of what that was my biggest concern, was just not having control over what conversations were being had out there.
Right.
But
Right. But you get to
texting is
see
by
that though.
far one of the things that I never really thought would you know be as popular as it is,
Same
in
here.
the service business. Yeah,
Yeah, same here. And I still, and I'm in technology, as you know, but I still have um, a hard time. I mean, you can actually, make deals for text now. Hey, this is what we're going. Now we're moving forward. That kind of
yeah,
thing, and that's fine. But it is different for me because I'm more of a call on the phone or go see someone face to face. So
yep,
I completely get it. But I think as a customer, we do like the fact of in the trade world and what you all provide as service is that you do notify us when you're coming and what's going
yeah,
on and then it just makes it easy for everyone. You know what's going on, the customer know and it makes a good flow. And communication is key. I mean,
yep,
in anything that you do, I think so. It's very nice that you've decided to move forward in that, and that you encourage business owners to get it. Not everybody has to do it. Take your time. You don't have to do it like put everything all in at once, but definitely, technology helps you manage your business better and be more
absolutely,
efficient. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Are you seeing, just talking about industry trends that are out there, do you see anything new coming up in the cleaning and restoration home type business, or do you think you are caught up for everything that you need? Or I mean, I know it's always I know in my world every day is a challenge.
Yeah, yeah. Our biggest challenge, with our industry, looking at the cleaning and restoration industry, especially working with, insurance providers, um, is, you know, the lack of, you talk about communication, and I got to be careful how I say this, but, you know, lack of communication to and from our insurance partners, I'll say, is a big challenge right now.
Okay.
And, um, they're inundated, staff, as, and I go back to the pandemic,
Hmm.
you know, they, obviously people left, whatever.
Hmm.
The insurance industry has kind of not caught up, unfortunately, I feel,
Mm-hmm.
from my little world, with how to communicate
Mm-hmm.
with us for sure, and then definitely their customer.
Yeah.
Um, and that's something that is a challenge. In
And it's
that,
hard to see when the
yeah,
customer's going through that.
right. So that part of it is something that we've got to, that has to change hopefully over the next few months.
So let me ask you just real quick. I don't mean to interrupt you. So what are you doing for your customers to try to help eliminate that pain of of them not getting answers? Do you get involved and try to help out? Kind of give me an idea about that, please.
We don't go off as like we're an insurance agent or adjuster.
Sure.
um, we have educated ourselves a little bit more on what an insurance policy actually says.
Hmm.
um, uh, we are available
Very good.
for them.
Hmm.
And if we encourage them to use us if they can't get a hold of someone at their you know insurance agent or company, call us, we'll help. you know
Very good.
um, we really try to be that point of contact for them, and we have some good partnerships with some of our agents or some of our adjusters,
Okay. Good.
and they appreciate that. They, anything we can take off the desk adjuster's lap,
Hmm.
to help with that customer, we'll try to do that.
Very
Um,
good.
um, you know, yeah, just being just answering the phone,
Very
the
good.
simple thing of answering the phone, answering an email, updates. Our job management software. We have a weekly meeting, and they go over every job that we have.
Great.
Uh, and updates are made, customers are called, schedules are, you know, tweaked or whatever.
Hmm.
But yeah, the communication side of things, to our customers is on, it's really stellar from the standpoint of, we know that they're not going to get that, from they're not going to get that update through their insurance company
Right.
like maybe once did.
Yes, and amazes me because they're going through a very, as we have talked about in the beginning, very devastating time, and when you're not getting called back, and and you had mentioned this, we had talked in the past about, you encourage, and if you can get the message out there for everyone to look at their insurance, understand what they're getting when they sign up to pay for insurance at their home. um, and um, and when we talked, I went and did that because that helped me. I mean, it's important because if you don't know what you have, and a disaster can happen at any time in your life that you didn't think, and it's always the time you don't want it to, because nobody wants it, but it happens, and you need to know what you need to be able to get a hold of somebody. You need to be able
Yeah.
to have an agent that's going to call you back, and also know exactly and understand what you have in insurance. So I
Yep.
think what
You're
you're
right.
doing is excellent. I did also want to touch on your location, that while you're working towards getting the claim taken care of and getting in their home and cleaning it up and do all the things that you do, you have an area that they can come into and look at some fixtures and some things that they might want to look at for their home. Will you explain that to me, please?
Yep. It several years ago, it was getting obvious once we started doing a lot of the repair work and build back on some of these larger jobs, that we could tell our customer was a little, you know they didn't plan to remodel their house at that
Right.
moment, right?
Right.
And it totally interrupts their life, and plans have to be changed, and whatever. So, I saw the fact that, we were saying, okay, you need to go here for this, you need to go there for that, talk to this person for, this. And, part of it was, we're vulnerable to lose a job or
Mm-hmm.
part of a job by doing that because
Mm-hmm.
we lost a few because somebody's going to sell them. Everybody's a salesperson, and that's fine. It's the way business works.
Right.
Um, but the other thing too is that when you're working within a budget of what your insurance company is going to pay, if we're sending them out to some place and somebody's showing them something that is way outside their budget,
Right.
then we have to come back and say, well, you can't, unless you want to pay the difference, that's too much for your
Right.
budget.
Right.
So by having our little space, it's a little less than 2,000 square feet. We have, some nice kitchen cabinets. It's really uh, fixed up pretty nicely.
Mm-hmm.
We've got flooring samples. We don't have everything that we need in there, but it gives us the opportunity to bring the customer in that space. It's
Mm-hmm.
clean. It smells good.
Right.
It gives them that idea of, oh wow, this is, I can see the light at the end of the
Yes.
tunnel now, kind
Yes.
of thing.
Absolutely.
And giving them the opportunity. And then if there are things that we don't have that they need, we'll go get them and have them available for them at that,
Very good.
at that time. Just because if we're having to do siding and roofing and all that stuff, there is no store where you can go to where you can just kind of sit down and select it all.
Right. Maybe not be pressured
Right.
and also too, it's kind of like a one-stop shop. You're already in the process of, and it's good for you as as a business owner. You all are growing, growing that partnership, that relationship, getting to know them better, letting them know about what's going on over here while you're looking here, and like you said, giving them that space to feel comfortable and have that trust that you all are doing good business for them. So I think it's smart, and I like that. Um, Kind of getting to the end here. Over 30 years experience that you have, what would advice would you give to up and coming entrepreneurs that maybe you'll mentor, or other individuals out there that already have businesses that are might be struggling? What advice would you give to them?
Um, Again, about 5 years, 5, 6 years ago, as crazy as it sounds, really understanding why you do what you do, understanding, you know, what feeds you. Sometimes, not sometimes when I get in front of, a high school kid, one of the questions I ask is, right now you're 18 years old or 16 or 17, whatever.
Hmm.
What is it that you absolutely love to do that if somebody took it away from you, um, how would that make you feel? Or if all of a sudden they said you couldn't run track or do cross country or play football, um, how would you feel about that?
Right.
You know, something you're very passionate about essentially right now at 16, 17, 18 years old.
Hmm.
Um, and they're like, well, I wouldn't like that at all.
Right.
And I said, so when you go into thinking about a career,
Hmm.
you've got to understand that it's got to be part of your inner being
Yes.
or it's not going to be meaningful.
Right.
So essentially, I asked them, what is the most meaningful thing in your life right now?
Hmm.
And how could that translate into a career?
Yes. Very good.
And trying to trying to get them to think like that sometimes is hard.
Yeah.
Some are like, oh, I'm already there. I'm already doing this, and this, and
Right.
my that's awesome. But I think it's never too early to. I know I would have probably been a little bit ahead of myself if I had done that at 18 or 19 years old. If I'd have had my eighth grade English teacher tell me at 18, hey, you want to help people,
Yeah.
go find a job that's going to allow you to do that,
Yes.
I probably would have done. I don't know that I would be in this business,
Right. Right.
but um, you know, at the end of the day, this was where I was at that moment when I was told that, and I'm
Right.
like, I'm pretty good at this. I've gotten good at
Yeah.
it over the years. Um, I'm going to use this as my vehicle to help people,
Very good.
you know,
Yes.
and obviously you've got to enjoy the
Yes.
physical part of it and all of that, but you know, if I didn't have the mindset of wanting to help people, I don't know that,
This would
you
be
know,
it.
this
Right.
would be it.
Right.
So understanding your, I was really resistant to the whole, what is your why thing for a long time,
Hmm.
but it is so important.
Yes.
You've got to know what brews in you, what your passion is, what you can be passionate about.
Right.
Um, that's true success, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Very good. Very good, Glenn. Thank you. Um, One last question. What is the most rewarding aspect of Harris Services to you?
Oh, now you should have. You didn't send me that. Oh, Becky. Mm.
This is what's fun about this.
Oh,
And you could have more than one. I mean, I don't think there's any, I would have more, probably more than one, but one is good if you want.
well, I'll get, if I'm not careful, I'll get emotional, but
Right.
it's seeing my staff grow.
Yes.
It's seeing, we've got some folks that have been with us, and I feel so blessed to have them for the period of time, 10, 10 years and, or so. It's seeing my staff grow. It's seeing whether they're here for, 6 months or 10 years, seeing them buy a new car,
Yes.
seeing them be excited about moving into a better home or something like that.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. That's
I didn't know I didn't know that's what it was going to be. I
yeah.
didn't know that, um,
Yeah.
I didn't know that was what was, I mean, if I could live off of that and not have to have money, that probably would be enough for me. Um, you
That's
know,
wonderful.
had no idea that, I would be that. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I think deep down, I think most business owners, that's the answer. You
Yes.
know, if you blindside them like you just did me with that question, and they have staff,
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that's probably the answer you're gonna get.
Yes, and you know what? That comes back to though that you care. I mean, let's be honest. That what your teacher told you, taking care of someone, and so the happiness that you get, the reward that you get, is to see your staff and your customers be taken care of, and
Yeah,
so be um, I think it's amazing that you're getting to experience that. And that's what you've
I
worked so hard for, right? I mean, it's really, that's what it gets down to. Like you said, it's not about the money, it's about what you just said, which I think is amazing. So, very good.
a
Thank
lot
you.
of people look at me funny when I say this, and I'll leave you with this. I
Okay.
really don't feel like I've worked a day in my life since I started this business in 2004. Am I tired when I go home? Is my body aching now that I'm old and all that? Absolutely. But um, you know, I am such a blessed individual when it comes to being able to do what I do, and work with the people that I've worked with, over my career. Yeah, I'm I'm living the dream. I'm living the dream.
That's great. And I think that that's what every entrepreneur, any business owner starting out, that's the ultimate goal, is to feel that way, love what you do and enjoy it, because that radiates, and people, it's leading by example. And I think that that's why you have good people with you, why you've had a business for 30 years, and why you've been very successful and continue to want to get better. Just like you said, I'm looking at, how to tighten up the process of going into people's homes. I mean, you know, after 30 years, most people, people that I've been around sometimes are like, I'm not really too worried about it. We've got it going, everything's going all right. You're still striving to do better. And I think that that helps the individuals around you learn from that,
Yeah.
continuing to be a mentor. So that's great. Glenn, thank you so much for being with me, and I'm just, it's been a pleasure, and I
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Will you let the audience know where they can reach out to you if they need your services?
Well, obviously, the internet is, the best place. Google, Harris Services. We should pop up. We're working on trying to get a little higher on the Google map, but
Yeah.
our website is callharrisservices.com.
Yes.
Obviously, we have a phone and all that. You
Mhm.
can go to our website and click the texting box and text immediately. You can call our phone number, 812-824-5055. You'll get a person, 8 hours a day. And then we have a very slick after hours answering service that helps those in need after hours get immediate assistance.
That's incredible. Thank you, Glenn. And thanks for joining us today. Please join us next week for Focus Chats. You can reach us at FocusApps.com. Thank you and have a great day.